Yesterday I asked you for your Git panic stories. Jay commented, "I'm using Git instead of GitHub and I don't know how to resolve merge conflicts anymore." I will be covering this topic in my talk, but only very briefly. There are tons of options for UIs and GUIs out there for you. First, I do want to say, technically, if you're using GitHub, you are using Git. GitHub is a UI for Git. There are free ones, there are paid ones, but there are options other than GitHub for a UI in the browser. GitHub is just the most popular, most well-known, most owned by Microsoft. I'm assuming by saying I'm using Git, you mean I have to run commands in command line. Some of these tools are actually associated with Git. They're also the oldest and still pretty command line based. GitHub also has a tool called GitHub Desktop. I personally like Sublime Merge the most. Shout out to Rachel for suggesting that when I worked with them. They will give you the same buttons that you're used to in GitHub. You'll get to visualize your repo and your branches with trees, with pretty colorful lines. It'll show you where you're branching off. It'll give you all the information about your commits in your branch. They are very, very helpful tools. The Git reference documentation has an entire page dedicated to this. You can sort by your OS as well as a couple little mobile options, just in case you need to look at your Git on the go, I guess. My biggest tip, however, is to associate your text editor of choice with Git. GitHub itself has single commands for a few of your favorites. My current text editor of choice, VS Code, is already associated with Git. I am about to run a command that I know triggers merge conflicts because I've forced it. And if I were to run this command in command line without associating my text editor, what would open would be a VI window, which is a Vim window in your terminal, which uses Vim commands. And I'm sure you've seen a meme about Vim commands and how difficult they are to learn and how easy it is to get trapped. So if you get tossed in a edit your commit message or resolve merge conflicts in a VI window and you don't know Vim commands, yeah, it's gonna be really, really hard. I may have cried about it before. Once you associate your text editor with Git, if I run this command, then my merge conflicts show up very similar to how they show up in GitHub. And in fact, VS Code gives you these nice buttons. You can edit them manually to make sure that you're getting exactly what you want and then remove these lines. VS Code also has a whole source control panel. You don't ever have to run git add again if you don't want to. You can do all kinds of things that you can do in a GUI as well. Make your IDE work for you while you're working in Git. I did go ahead and check what happens in my GUI of choice, Sublime Merge. You can edit your merge conflicts in here just like you would in GitHub. If you increase the font size or try to make any of this text bigger, you can only do it for the code. You can find all this information and more in my Git Panic series on dev.to, Hashnode, or my personal site, abbyperini.com.